Okay, Commissioner, it has been a while, Commissioner. It's the first week in December. How
Like,
are
where did 2021 go? None of us expected that, number one, we would be in a pandemic for 20 months, 21 months, who's counting? And we took a break from doing these videos just because there really got to be a time where things started to settle down, but now they're ramping back up again, which was anticipated. And so we thought it was time to do another one to check in with everybody, say hello, understand that this is still this long, prolonged, drawn out, different way of doing our work.
Absolutely. So, Commissioner, I think that we wanted to talk to staff right away about so many of the successes we've seen since the last time we did a video. And really, most importantly, our permanency work. We just came off a fantastic adoption month, adoption day, but adoption's one form of permanency for our kids.
Yeah, if you have not had a chance to look at this month's spotlight, listen, on adoption day, I'll admit there was not a dry eye in the house. There was so much tremendous work that occurred across the department related to those stories that were featured. We all know, too, that our focus on permanency and making sure that kids get legal permanence as quickly as possible is something that we have to double down with. But we're real proud of the fact that um, uh, so far this year, 457 adoptions. Did I say that right? Yeah,
Yep.
457 adoptions, 411 transfer of guardianships. And the other piece that we always should balance that conversation with is reunification stats. Kids are going home and they're staying home safely. We do recognize that some families can reunify quicker. Some may take a little bit longer in terms of support, but we've had 493 reunifications this year too. 900 during the course of those 20 months of the pandemic. That's some hard work out there, you guys, with all the divisions here in central office helping support the area offices, making those things happen to bring kids and families together. It's home for the holidays, whether it's with our adopted families or reunifying with kids with their parents. It's that time of the year, even in a pandemic.
It is. It is. And Commissioner, just to highlight a point that you have made both internally with members of the media, that all of this permanency work, when we look at the outcomes, numbers are one thing, but we have not seen an uptick in repeat maltreatment
Right.
or children re-entering care. So we
That's
have to
right.
keep that in mind. As you said, children safely returned home or safely remaining at home. That's a key point. It's not just about the number.
That's right. Absolutely right.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of media coverage lately, and we want to keep that going. We want the positive coverage. We also want the citizens of the state to understand our role in children's behavioral health. But we're out there. You guys are working really hard in external affairs to really lift up the work of the department in so many different ways, and we're excited to continue to do that.
Absolutely. So we have recently sent out to all staff an updated memo regarding telework, which
Yeah,
includes,
they
yeah,
got it from DAS, sent it to all employees, and there hasn't been a specific DCF memo for a real reason. Because if you look at the memo that was sent by DAS, there's still one piece of the arbitration related to telework that has to still be arbitrated, and that is the cap. Meaning, is there going to be a statewide cap on the maximum amount of time someone can telework? We know for us, telework still means work. We know that most of the time while we're in a remote capacity, we're doing harder work because we're not giving ourselves that work-life balance. But we also recognize that this we lose something in a telework environment. We've been doing all of our face-to-face work since the spring, and that will continue. But what we wanted to lift up today is that memo that is requesting people start to think about what their schedule would be
mhm,
like that they would like coming January 1st, but know that, each agency is given flexibility once the final arbitration is reached related to the cap. So we'll be looking really closely at, folks' functions, what they've done, how we've been able to be very effective in a telework environment. But that memo asks people to start to submit those schedules. You won't get any response to the request being made until that final piece of the arbitration is done, but we want people to start thinking about that.
and so more details to follow there.
Mm-hmm.
What we have done is a couple weeks ago we sent out a pretty strongly worded memo about reminders for wearing masks and our in-person contact, either with employees in the office or our children and families in the community. And that was intended to use that point in time to say, let's keep to the basics, let's stick to what we know is right to really curb and influence the spread of COVID-19.
We know that masking, social distancing, disinfecting, that we've been talking about, washing your hands, those are the things that really help mitigate the spread of this virus. And we know that since the advent of the vaccines, that's another piece of the suit of armor that we have that protect us. I can take this time to also thank staff. Thank you all for submitting either your vaccine status or submitting to weekly testing, because we are one of the agencies that right away were able to get a handle on that. And so we appreciate folks doing that. With that, also, we've had the increased availability or eligibility for little kids to be vaccinated. So now kids 5 and over can be vaccinated, and we need to update our database that every child within that cohort over the age of 5, any CIP, any child in placement that we have, there's a documented effort to talk to them about being vaccinated, including in that conversation their parents. And there's a memo that we have out there to help explain that process too. So, we know as this variant flares up, we have to continue with those pieces of armor. And with that is, how we prepare ourselves with PPE, with masks, with face shields when we come in contact with other people, regardless of where we are doing our work.
So, Commissioner, before we give staff the opportunity to turn off their monitors, at which time we typically give an update on statistics, any other messages that you would like staff to have as we're now in the holiday season regarding vaccines for kids or masks or telework or anything else out there for the department?
Yeah, it's just an opportunity to ask everyone to recharge your battery. This has been a really long, drawn out process that none of us could have expected. And some of the things that we see, and whether it's the way we document our work or how we protect ourselves, slip a little bit. Use the holiday time to really energize yourself. Take some time off. Use your last personal time, because as we go into 2022, there's going to be a lot of changes in the department with the eligibility of people retiring and, kind of hanging up their hat in the service that they've so been dedicated to. So we need to be in full force, ready to go, energized, doing our work to the best that we can, and continuing the good work that we see out there. Kids and families have relied on us for 20 months and we've delivered. So just happy holidays to everyone who celebrates the different holidays and the different times of the year. But know that we need to use this time to rejuvenate and plan for 2022.
Great. So before we give staff the opportunity to turn off their monitors, I'm gonna steal one moment from you to congratulate you once again on behalf of the entire state for being named one of the 100 most influential Black leaders in Connecticut a number of months ago.
Listen, no one can be a leader if there aren't people to follow and inspire to come next. So very humbled to have accepted the NAACP award. Really happy to represent the department in that, and really happy to lead the place where, I've grown professionally and personally. So thank you for that. Not necessary, but thank you for that. And with that, if you would like to turn off the video now, we're going to go to the stats of, kind of what our data looks like across the department.
So as of the most recent numbers, we have 434 caregivers, 400 youth, and 520 staff that since the beginning of the pandemic, which we mark as mid-March, have tested positive for COVID-19.
Those numbers continue to rise, particularly now when we know that the variants have created some additional transmission points. Also, we know that there's a lot of positives being detected by the weekly testing cadence. So, it's hard to flush out what part of those positives are because of increased transmission of the virus or increased testing. All we know is we have to pay attention to it. So yeah, we're keeping that cumulative record. Shout out to Jadi EJ, who keeps us up to date on all of our metrics, and just everybody who's had an all hands on deck approach to making sure DCF is a really strong agency as it relates to how we fight COVID and still do our job really well. So excited to record another video that we've hadn't done in a while. Excited to my co-host here, Ken. Happy home for the holidays month in DCF.
Yes, as well to you, Commissioner, and your family. So we will we'll see everybody soon.
Great. Thanks a lot.